I'm coming to you from our Twin City studios here in Circle Pines, Minnesota. It's actually a suburb in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Again, thanks for joining us. And today we're going to have a full broadcast of social events impacting our nation. That nation is the Republic of Liberia, a tiny West African nation in the west region of Africa. Africa is a vast region comprising of over 1 billion people, and Liberia happens to be on the west coast of that region. Okay, so if you're just joining us tonight, we're going to be having a gentleman named Jacob Quarte, Jacob Sion Quarte. Gentleman has given so much to society, and in recent time, Mr. Sion has been going back and forth in Liberia to see how he can contribute some of his quota to the Republic and our people who are in dire straits, and they need everything and all the support they can get from their diasporan relatives and brother. But just before we commence this broadcast tonight, we'd like to share it with viewers. So if you just stay tuned, we will be back. Meanwhile, let's see if we can get you some entertainment while we do that. Thank you. So, alright, before we start a watch party, we're gonna share this. Pick up conversation. There's Jacob. For some reason, I'm not seeing your name. I wanted to share it on your timeline. I don't know if we're not friends. Yeah. I wanted to share.
Jacob say on quarter. You have to put a phone in there.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm not. It's not even popping up. Jacob.
Seyon.
Yeah, not popping up.
It's on Facebook or where?
On Facebook.
Oh.
SEY. No, sometimes we're not friends.
No, but you and I band. You and I band. Like last time, I think I was able to share the link.
You were able to share the link because I sent it on. So let me send it on.
Send the messenger.
Yes, maybe that's what I need to do.
Oh, you do it, then you share it with me the messenger, then we'll forward it.
Because I think my page has to be.
Is it kind of full?
No, Liberian Packed in Liberian. My page has to be friends. You have to subscribe to my page in order to be able. So now let me see if I can do share with
Let me see.
you. Hold on, more option. Hang on. So let's do Messenger. We can do Messenger here, and then Jacob. SEY. Yeah, now I got you on
Facebook,
mhm. No, on Messenger.
a messenger.
Yes. So you should have it. And
Okay, come on, okay, that's key.
okay. Let me share it back on Facebook.
Let me see it. Let me let me share this. Okay. So I should share it right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So we are starting a watch party. That also will generate more. I'll do Liberians in Minnesota. Okay, Mr. Quarte, good evening, and of course, let's start the broadcast here. And in case you're just joining me, I'd like to welcome you to our broadcast, Mr. Sayan. As soon as you reappear on the television, things should be back on, but it seems as though Mr. And just in case you're not aware, I think I've lost connection with Mr. Quarte, but tonight we are going to have a candid discussion with Liberians who are making the difference back home among fellow Liberians, and of course in our motherland as well. And tonight I happen to be in conversation with Jacob Seyon Quarte. This gentleman has been in our community for a very long time. And he has also given so much to society, both here locally. Um, he and I reside in the state of Minnesota, Minneapolis, or the Twin City to be specific. Mr. Sion have served in several capacities. And to this time around, is he has decided to go back home to Liberia and see where he can begin to make his own personal impact. We are going to be talking about some of his impact, back home. This is not strictly a political show. This is not one where we come to bash the ruling government of the day, or maybe to badmouth other Liberians. This effort is strictly intended to demonstrate what others are doing, the differences they're making in their own societies. And so, therefore, Mr. Quarter, good evening and welcome to the microphone.
Good evening, Colin Gray, and thank you for your kind introduction. And let me also say thank you for what you're doing. I think your platform is one that gives credence or gives opportunity to people like me to be able to share our experience and the work we are doing in our country. So thank you for your platform. Thank you for this opportunity.
You are welcome, my brother. More than likely, these platforms, these ones that were established here, they exist because as minorities in faraway land, we don't have any way of airing our own opinions. The cost of television is so expensive. If you were to appear on local television like CNN or ABC or CBS, whatever the circumstance might be, definitely they will edit some of those appearances and just put a spot that would just give a glimpse picture of what the actual reality is. But here, you have the opportunity to express yourself full scale, and I will ask that you use it wisely because this becomes record that others may tap onto tomorrow. So you're welcome. But before going further, let me ask you, who is Jacob Quarter?
Jacob Quarter is a Liberian, born and raised in PHP, right there in Monrovia, Liberia, opposite the BTC, formerly the Barclay Training Center. Came to the United States and since 1999 has lived in the US, still had a quest for higher education, still had a quest for community service, and still had a quest for service to humanity. And those are things that Jacob brought with him, to the US. Values that were instilled in him by his parents and community, where the concept of it takes the village is still being practiced. So we didn't depart from the values and virtues that we learned over the years as children growing up in PHP. So when we came to the US, there was no reason for us to depart from those values. So we still kept our values. And that's why we're here today, to give back to our community. And I know you would want to come to the question, what happened in Liberia when I went there and what have you. But when we came over to the States, we still had our community at heart, and we still had our country on our mind. And that's why we're able to go back. So Jacob is one who is ready to give his service, one who has given his service, and one who is prepared to give his service to his country.
Well, thank you, Mr. Quarter. Definitely, without a doubt, I'm a living witness of some of the services you've given back to humanity. And I know you're just in your prime, so you're not even in the middle yet of giving back to society. Matter of fact, I would say you probably at step number 4 or 5, not even well into it. And I believe, you have so much to offer. To the point where Liberians who are disadvantaged would be in the position to tap onto some of that gesture that of yours that you brought up, as you say, from childhood up onto your adulthood. Now you've decided to replicate that by giving back to society. We all know that when it comes to these kinds of discussion, of course, um, only a certain amount of Liberians, would tune in, unlike other platform where people go and express themselves in other demeaning way. But here we're talking about giving back to society. So let's say you've been here since '99. What are some of the ways in which you can say uh, you were inspired to going back to Liberia to begin to look at helping disadvantaged people?
One thing I've learned over the years, having lived here for a while, one value that stands out to me in my whole American experience is the value of service to community, service to people, and service to country. And there's no doubt, I've always said, America is the greatest country on the planet Earth. America has one of the greatest, America has the greatest military. Uh, they're just indisputable. America influence crosses all borders. America has the greater economy. But for me, all of these things, how important they are, and why it's true that they are very important. But the greatest thing of America is what I see in people: service to people. So if you ask me what one of the things that I really learned or all my years being here is service to country. And that's why I was so inspired to go back to my country. Having lived here for almost 20 years, 1999, came to this country was in 2018 December. 2018 December 18 when I made my first trip back to Liberia.
December 2018. I haven't lived here
Yeah,
for pretty close to 20 years because from 99 to 2018, one would say that's pretty close to 20 years.
Absolutely.
But what were some of the reasons for the delay? Because the way the crisis is looming back home. When I say crisis, I don't mean one. I mean so many crises. So CRSES. The way the crises are looming in Liberia, it's like help should be immediately on the way. But it took Jacob Quarter 20 years to do that. What were some of the reasons for the delay?
Because God will prepare me for this day.
Okay.
And as a person of faith, I take my faith very seriously. That's one of my values I have. I'm not perfect. I'm not righteous, nor am I a bishop or pope. But I am a Christian and I love the Lord. So God will prepare me for the number of time it took or how long it took. I will wait on God's time. So when it was God's time for me to leave, I felt it and I knew it was time for me to go see my country. That's why it took me too long because I was in the preparation stage.
Thank you so much. Well, one will not dispute that this is, of course, the most righteously right time to show up and assist. You were recently in Liberia. You, in addition to going back to 2018, you decided to go back recently. What are some of the engagements you're involved in Liberia currently?
And we are currently working with a group we call the so-called ZOCOs, the disadvantaged youth who are somewhat abandoned, who are on the streets. But before we came to this level of working with youth, in 2018, when I made my first trip to Liberia, I saw three distinct things. I saw, no doubt, the enormous challenges we have as a country, not to mention the physical and structural challenges we have. The way I saw people driving, the way I saw people moving on the streets, and of course, the physical condition of the country itself. When I saw those things, I said, wow, Lord, we have work to do. And on the opposite end of that, I saw enormous challenge and opportunities. I first saw the challenges, no doubt. They are still there as we speak. But then I saw vast opportunity. And I saw that our country, I mean, is almost like a virgin. I don't think we have tapped into the skill set of our country. In my own view, I don't think we have tapped into the resources of our country, both human and natural resources. Then between the vast opportunities and then the enormous challenges, then I saw God's hope. And upon God's hope, I said, well, this is where I think I can come and give back to my country. Mind you now, like you said, having lived in America, we weren't just living here or living here sick. We became very involved in our community, in our local community. So we also acquired some skill sets. And we also acquired some knowledge and opportunities to do things in a way that it benefits the public good. So when we went to Liberia in 2018, when we saw the way our country was structured, having lived outside the country for that long, and I felt the need, I said, yes, this is the opportunity for me to come and give back. All the good things I acquired from the States, I can come back and try to, gradually, release some of the good things so people can see that yes, our going to America was to come back and bless our country. So when I went to Liberia on my way back in 2018, I left 2019 because I went for the Christmas. Enjoyed my family, haven't seen for years. We had a big Christmas party. The whole community in PHP came around. We had a good time. But then on my way back, an apostle, a man of God, proposed to me and said, Jacob, now that you're going back to the States, why can't we find, something to do with the youth? Why can't we walk with the youth on the street? And mind you now, while living in the U.S., we also established our youth program under the name Amanon Sport and Social Association, ASA Inc., where we provided opportunities to our children between the ages of 4 to 18 for 9 years. All right, we did soccer, we did after-school program, we did basketball, we did leadership training. So having worked with youth here, I thought that was just a way of saying God wants you to come and help the youth in this country. So when the man of God proposed that to me, because my initial thinking was, how can I, bring in investors to provide employment opportunity for our people, job opportunity, maybe real estate business. Because I have a strong desire and passion to do real estate business. I'm looking forward to it. One day, that's the business I want to do in Liberia, real estate. My dad was in the business of housing. So I know the value of housing. So I want to do real estate business. So that was the concept I had when I went to Liberia, and I still have that anyway. But when the man of God proposed to me that, we need to do something for our youth, it dawned on me. And let me disclose here, one of the youth you were talking about is my own younger brother, Daniel. Daniel is one of those people who call Zokos, right? So when he said that, I just felt the need to do something in that direction. That's how we form our group called Destiny Helper Foundation, for short DHF. So when I came to the States, I gathered some friends around to them and they bought the idea. Today, Destiny Helper Foundation is a full-fledged organization registered with the business registry in Liberia, registered with the Foreign Affairs. It's a full-fledged non-profit organization with 3 main focuses. 1, Zokos. 2, on a privileged community. And then 3, single mom. So that's the work we're doing in Liberia.
So it seems as though you're everywhere, all over the place. You talk about your organization primarily had focused on age 4 to, did you say 4 to 9? And now
no, I mean when that was AS and ASA Inc. ASA. Okay. When we had Amanon Sport and Social Association here in the U.S. I was started in 2007, 2016.
Okay.
That's what we did for our youth here.
Okay.
When we saw the need for our children to get into program, because most of the parents couldn't get the children into established program, the one owned by the city, by the county. So then we felt the need to provide an opportunity for our children, an alternative. So again, in America, a few friends came around. Then we organized ASA Inc. Mr. George Harris, one of the founding members of that, Johannes Sion, and many others, Richard Day. So we all came together and formed ASA Inc., Amano Sport and Social Association, with the hope of giving opportunity to our children, our American-born children, our Liberian American-born children. But ASA Inc. served all children, white children, Asian, Liberian, American children, all of them. So it's that same concept that I had, the concept of serving youth or providing opportunity for youth. Is that something that was just in my spirit? So when I went to Liberia, the man of God, reminded me that, oh, what came to work with youth on the street? And then that just came about. But the folks who work with are the Zocos, and they range from all age group. Yeah, from I think that the youngest I saw on my last trip was 15 years old. So so yeah, 15 years old, and I also have the video for that. I posted that on Facebook too. That was the youngest I met. 15 years old up, as old as people older than you and I, people far younger than you and I. So yeah, so the group in Liberia, the age group, ranges from 15 and upward.
Well,
Reference to the group in America from 9 to, from 4 to 16 years old.
okay, that is clear. But let us seek to see, because I would assume firstly your organization is 501c3 designated, because with that, at least you'll be able to secure third-party fundings, donor dollars, and these kinds of initiatives. Of course, you do need money to source some of the activities that you intend to remove some of these people from their destitute situation. So, is your organization 501c3 designated?
It's not a 501c3 under the American law, but we did register the group here in Minnesota. We have our registration with the Secretary of State office in the state of Minnesota. But it may be considered 501c3 in the context of Liberia business registry, because it's fully registered with the business registry in Liberia and fully registered with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So in the context of Liberia, because Liberia is the base, Liberia is where everything is done. So we did all the necessary registration. So in the context of Liberia, you can say yes, 501c3 in that context. But in the U.S., we don't have an official 501c3 yet, but we are registered.
All right, it seems as though we've lost Mr. Quate. Hopefully, we will relink with him and continue the conversation. Meanwhile, let's see if we can do some musical entertainment here as we intend to join Mr. Quate. Good evening and welcome. In case you're joining me, this is the Colonel E. Remy Gray Show, and tonight I'm in conversation with Jacob Quate. Gentleman is a Liberian born, residing in the state of Minnesota, who has decided to go back into the motherland and provide for disadvantaged youth. He was just on the topic of some of the challenges our people are facing, and definitely there is a group of Liberians that have been that have come to be branded Zogos. It's a derogatory terminology for folks who don't have, who look a certain way. These are some of the ones that the Civil War, the aftermath of the Civil War, left absolutely destitute, to the point where some of them reside in graveyards. Some of them consume chemical. It could be ranging from alcohol to any narcotic, and these individuals have quite enormous psychological challenges that they're going through right now. And let me see if I can relink with Mr. Quate. It seems as though we lost the. I'll go back and try to get him. SCYON and give me a minute. I know I lost you. I just sent you the link.
Okay.
Yeah. I so I'm back. I'm trying to see if you can hear me on the watch party. Just hang in there. Mr. Seon will soon be back with us. Mr. Quater will soon be back with us. But I was just saying that these disadvantaged Liberians, some of them became the way they are, not any fault of their own, but these is these are clearly folks who need help, and they need the help of our nation. Government cannot do all. Even though the government is us, we elect our leaders to be able to provide social safety nets for our disadvantaged people. But civil societies also can help. Majority of us think that when we say government, it looks like it's a private venture, and we can't tax them to do certain things. But yes, if you elect a certain group of people, you put them in office. We did so because we want them to wholeheartedly grab our own responsibility as a nation and solve them. If they can't, then they need to get out of the way. And that probably would be one of the most political statements I'll make here. But I hear sometimes people say, well, why don't we engage? Everything should not be government. Well, government is us. When we elect a group of us to say, go and represent us, manage our resources, the money that comes to our nation, manage it for us on behalf of us. They're not separate people trying to use their own private wealth to make society better. We have placed them there to manage our collective wealth. But as soon as I get Mr. Sion back, I just reestablish link with him. I will be in a position to continue the conversation with him, because it is he who will control the trajectory of this conversation. But in case you're just joining me, this is Colonel E. Remy Gray, and I am in conversation with Jacob Seon Quate, a local Liberian, philanthropist who lives here in the state of Minnesota. In case you're just joining me, welcome. We do have quite a bit to cover, and we were just in conversation and we lost each other. But let me see if I'll go back and relink with him. What is allow? So give me a minute. We should be able to link back with him. Sometimes these conversations, when you reestablish and you're locked in for security reasons, sometimes it's very difficult to rejoin. But I can always send him back the link so that he can join me. But Liberians out there in far and about, welcome to our conversation. This is the Connor E. Remy Gray Show, and today I'm in conversation with Jacob Seon Quate. So, in case you want to join us, just find a way of posting your find a way to post your email, and then I will send you a link, or you can put your number, and I'll be able to call you. But this is the Connor E. Remy Gray Show, and thanks for joining us. Hopefully, Mr. Quate will join us. Let me see if I can reestablish again. For some reason, it's not picking up, and I'll hit to to start the show, to continue the show without him, because this show is on his behalf, and we have to be able to get him on board. Okay, let me see. See on. Um, give us a minute here. We should be able to get back to him. There he is. Okay. Well, sorry for losing you, man. Sometimes it would be, and I'm still seeing like your background is kind of shaky a little bit, because sometimes the bandwidth from your end might not be, but you're back on. Thanks. And
Okay.
let's see if I can get you back on the screen here. Hang on a sec here. I got you, but I need to get you on screen. There you are, Mr. Kwade. Welcome back. I just asked about your organization being a 501c3, and you were making some clarification that in Liberia, of course, it is considered, it's deemed 501c3. I don't know if the level of funding that you attract here in the States would be, the same with the Republic of Liberia, given that here there are lots of donor dollars, there are lots of humanitarians who are willing to sponsor, regardless where the operation is taking place, as long as it involves human. There are lots of philanthropists who are willing to give to those kinds of initiatives, as long as you can demonstrate that they'll be used for the intended purpose. But our what are some of the challenges that you saw when you interacted with these people? Because we've heard there's an initiative by Darius Dillon, who recently announced that he too would be looking into that demographic of Liberians, that disadvantaged demographic of Liberians called Zogos. Now you two have seen some need for coming to their aid as well. But what are some of the challenges you see, and what exactly do you hope to address?
Yes. First, before I do answer that question, I first want to agree with you that there are indeed people of good heart and goodwill around the world, and we know that we are trusting that with God above, people with good heart and goodwill will come our way to be able to help our people back home, especially the population we are working with, the disadvantaged youth. And to answer the question, what are some of the problems? Trust me, Common Gray, uh, I have videos, I have pictures, but the most important thing, I have videos in the words of the disadvantaged youth to hear their appeal. The problems are enormous. You can't count one problem. They are all over the place. And I don't want to sound the alarm a doomsday or what have you. But I just circulated a video today from former, aka Board Naked, Reverend Letam Ablai. All right, why he in the video he was making a passionate plea to people of good heart around the world. The same thing we're doing right now. And what Nathan said in that video is some of the things that we saw when I was there in Liberia. It's a real concern. It is a real national crisis. The group called, quote unquote, the so-called Zokos, they are all over the country. And anyone who has been to Liberia in recent times, we agree that indeed they are all over the place. Because I went as far as Hindi, way in Bournemouth. I went to Wayne Town, way in Bournemouth. Let's consider it in the village. The Zokos are there. How do I know? Because we're talking about a program, and then the residents of the village, told us that yes, they are here too. So it is a national crisis. I said on radio when I was in Liberia on Joy FM 101.5, I said I witnessed an incident where a guy was on a keke. It's another form of transportation. And two guys were on a motorbike and they yanked this guy's phone. All right? Just before our eyes. That is not enough. I'm very safe in the car I was with my sister. My sister was doing the driving because I didn't drive in Liberia. All the time I've driven in America, I didn't drive in Liberia the 2 times I went there because I don't understand the traffic. I don't understand how people do driving on that side. So all I did, just sit in the car and people driving around. So this very day, my sister was driving, and this guy came and hit the car on the side of my sister, driver's side. So I turned to see, because he's opened the door, he knocked the side of the car, and opened the door. And when I turned to ask him what's going on, the other guy came across from me and took my sister's phone right between the two seats. And by the time my sister said, "Oh, roll," the both guys took on their feet. They were gone, and the people around shouted, in our Liberian.
Roll.
Roll. And it was funny to me, and at the same time,
it's pathetic.
I don't want. Not only pathetic, but not when it was this sad, but I was surprised, really. I said, "Kidding me?" In America, we say, "Are you kidding me?" Don't the guys know that I'm the Zoko chief? I'm the one who's trying to work with them. But no, you guys don't care. I just jokingly said that. But look, that's how serious it is. They stole my sister's phone right before my own eyes. I said, wow. And the very next day, Thursday, we had to go to a place called Peace Island by the known government building there around Congo Town area right in the hole. So
Peace Island is the same as Bali Island, right?
Yeah, no, it's called Peace
yeah,
Island.
Peace Island, it's the old former Ministry of Defense where they had, but it's the backside of that.
No, it's by the new government the multi-purpose building.
That's where they had the minister. That's where they had the old Ministry of Defense that was broken down. It was being built, but then it was now they put a government complex there, ministerial complex.
Right in that complex, right in that area. The next day after they stole my sister's phone, we had to go there to meet with the Zogos that there. So no, the problem is very serious. And in Liberia, I said, and I will say this on your show, and thank you for this platform. Let me use the opportunity to say the same thing I said in Liberia. It will take the government, serious part of the government. It will take the community, all of us, serious about it, and then it will take the family. These three groups must work together to ensure that we have a better country, because it's very serious. The issue of the Zoko is very serious. It's all over the country, and they are growing by the day. All right, and they are all over. They are family members, like my own dear brother Daniel. Is a Zoko. They are children whose parents are pastors. All right, they are children whose parents are in government. They are all over. They are, relatives of people in government, relatives and family members of people. It's just serious. So all of us must really put our heart together and ask ourselves, what kind of Liberia we want to have? Do we want to have a Liberia where we don't care about each other? Or we want to have a Liberia where we say, you know what, we have to work together to ensure that we have a better country? And I think I would take the latter. We have to. We have to work together because Liberia, we got work to do in that country. We have to really put aside our differences in ways that divide us further and ask ourselves the very hard question, what kind of country we want to have? If we're serious about country, then we must find things that we can do that will benefit the general public, because the issue of Zoko is a very serious problem.
Well, let us attempt to cut into some of the reasons why Liberians are becoming this way. We will never know the exact causes to some of these, this social statuses in life, unless we attempt to actually examine it from an empirical perspective. Um, could you, from your own observation, could you say is chemical dependency attached? In other words, drugs, alcohol. Could you say it's a mental, because all of this chemical dependency also can be a mental health issue. Can you say it's because of poverty? People don't have food, so they have found themselves becoming destitute to the point where they resort to anything that will comfort them in the meantime? Or would you say this is a biological defect? People born in Liberia today, growing up within a certain social class, are are forced to become who they are because of the circumstance. So, what would you say exactly if you want to summarize it? Let's say you were writing a project proposal. What would you point at some of the reasons why people become Zogos?
Uh, if you're asking me as a social scientist
Mm-hmm.
or a social welfare expert,
Yeah.
someone who uh, work in the social service field, I will tell you from my own standpoint, it's the issue of neglect.
Okay.
I think abandonment is one the issue of neglect and abandonment. I think as a society we feel to do due diligence to those that we call Zokos, especially when it comes to the era of, of course, not to mention we had civil war and some of the kids who fought war weren't properly, all right, and we abandoned them, and we allowed them to go and fend for themselves.
Including your own
So
brother.
because of
Including your own brother.
no, my brother did not fight war. That's the point I was coming to that. My
Okay.
brother did not fight war. All
Uh-huh.
right. Uh, so what happened is that we neglected most of the kids who were prior users. All right, because remember now, today we have new users, and the new users are mostly tapped in by peer influence.
Now, let's slow down. Slow down. If the common man in Liberia is watching this show, you just lost them. New users, old users. People don't even know what is he talking about. You understand? Let us reduce the conversation to the Liberian term. Users are people who are using drugs.
I agree.
Okay. Well,
Those who abuse drugs.
okay.
All right.
So they have all users, people who have been using drug before the war. Is that what you're saying? When you say old
Some of
user,
them used to before the drugs, and some of them, and it happened really kick in during the war, during the period of the war between the 1990s to 1996, 2000, between 1990 and 2000.
mm-hmm.
Those who were using drugs at that time, I would consider them as old user. You know, even before the war, we and stuff in Liberia, rampant like we have now. That's why I refer to old user and new user. All right, but most of the new users are people like my brother who were influenced by the peers. Who say, my man, just try it, man. It's nothing. And the one zip they took, today now they become, a chronic user.
Okay.
So you come from old, new, and chronic.
Okay.
But one thing, I wanted to quote what the Zogos themselves told me, and on video. That's why I documented this stuff. Thank God for video. Most of them said, quote, drugs abuse is demonic, unquote. It's demonic. You hear them seeing it. It's demonic. So then I try to process, when I listen to them, when I hear them talk about drug abuse is being demonic. So I start to ask myself, I even discussed that with my team. I said, what do they mean by it's demonic? The safe conclusion we came up with is once they are possessed, to get out of it is kind of hard. There where they lose hope. So it's like they are hopeless. But I tell you this, leaders don't lie. They're crying out for help. We visited about 3 to 4 Zogo centers. Trenchtown, right there by St. Teresa Convent, where we saw children born into Zoko families. And the videos are out there on Facebook, on my page. Go to Jacob Sayon Quarter and just scroll down, you see the videos. Children are born into the whole Zoko life, where mom and dad are drug abuse or drug users, but then they give birth to the kids. All right? And then we went to BYC area there. We met with the Zoko group there. Then we went to Duporo. We didn't meet with the Zokos, but we met with the leaders there that explained the challenges they have with the Zokos and how they are infiltrating their community. Then we went to Peace Island, where we met with the Zoko themselves. And we entered the ghetto. And I saw the guys taking the substance. And I was there for about a few seconds or so. Because when we went there, they said we must go into where they are. And being a person I am, willing to listen, willing to learn, willing to go where people are to meet them and address the need. So I wasn't afraid to go where they asked me to go. I went there and I saw them taking the substance.
Let me stop you there. Let me stop you there.
Yeah.
Here in the United States, an advanced country, one of the reasons for the wall that President Trump is trying to foster politically as a politician is to stop the narco war. Narcotic war is raging hell also. Opioid is one of the fundamental common drugs here in the States, and so you're trying to kill the source of the supply. Now, when you are talking about people are taking, it becomes demonic. The demonic in my missive would say, well, it's the supplier, the source. Liberia being a very vulnerable country where people can just enter freely without even being asked. One would say there will never be an end to drug supply because until we can go there and actually maintain our borders and begin to scrutinize who enters, Liberia will always be this free land where everybody walks in. So that demon will always be there. Okay? But how easy is it for our people to get access to drugs? Because it's an expensive venture everywhere.
And I couldn't agree with you more. All right? And that's why, sir, it will take three entities working together. The government that controls the resources of our country. All right? The sole custodian of our resources. The government.
Lost you again. Oh, God have mercy. All right. So we will have to find ways to regularize the broadcast. This is just one way in which I bring Mr. Kwate in sometimes. But let's see if we can get him again. Thanks for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. And all right, so I have sent him back the link. As you can see, okay, he's back. Okay, Mr. Kwate, you're back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was saying it will take three entities working together. The government that happens to be the sole custodian of our natural resources and human resources, the government that controls and regulates what comes in and what goes out, plays a pivotal role in the fight against drugs. It will take the community where the drugs are being pushed or sold, and where the dwellers of the drugs are and the pushers of the drugs are. And of course, it will take the family, because the people who abuse drugs kill for family. Like my own family, our late brother down there is one of those. So most of the people who take drugs, and not most, everybody came from family. Everybody has family. Mm-hmm. So it will take us, the family, it will take the community where the drugs are, and then it will take the government. So three of us must work together. But let me tell you something I heard in Liberia that really, really, really concerning. That's why I'm emphasizing the work of the government. I heard that sometimes some of the people who work with DEA and other places are somewhat, restrained in the effort to combat drugs because, quote unquote, when command comes from higher up, it demoralizes the guys to do the work.
So DEA is DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency.
Agency.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
And if they try to sometimes enforce the law against drugs abuse or the rest of drugs abuse, sometimes, I was told, I heard that when command comes from the top, it takes away, that energy to fight drugs because some of the guys who pushing drugs, they get a network. It's a network, a syndicate of network.
It is.
Stuff like that. So all these things make it very difficult to combat drugs. But the hope there is this: the guys who are abusing drugs, they themselves know the effect of drugs on their own lives. They themselves understand the challenges, drug abuse, poses on their life, the family, the strain it poses. So the hope we have is there are people willing to give up the habit. But then the real question is, what are we doing to help them? Are we reaching out to them?
Who are the we?
Are we still neglecting them? So that's where the battle is.
Now let me ask you who are the we? When you say we, who are the we?
I'm talking about community, society as a whole.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, because when I talk with you guys, you can see on the faces, and again, videos don't lie. And I encourage your viewers to go and check on.
I'm trying to see if I can stop putting some of these videos up.
You see people asking for help, crying out for help. Okay. The question is, are we listening? Are we listening to the voices? Are we listening to the cry? Or are we still neglecting them? Because the more we tend to neglect them, the more the society suffers. This is the deal. Agree? These people are here to stay. Because they are Liberians.
Yeah.
Our country belongs to them too. It's just that they have chosen different paths for you and I. But they own the country too. And they belong to that country.
Right.
So are we going to let them? So that we can have a better society. There where Destiny Helper Foundation comes in and say, no, we will try our best. And we're reaching out to good-hearted people, goodwill people to come and join us because this fight, there's no one person can fight this fight. I'll be honest with you. Not even the government. No government alone can fight this fight. No community by itself can fight this fight. No family by themselves can fight this fight. It will take the family, it will take the community, it will take the government working in concert to be able to battle this epidemic. It's a very serious epidemic, if I may add. Very serious. It's not to scare anyone, but they are all over the place. You go to Morocco, you see the Zocos all over. You go to Red Light, they are there. You go anywhere in Liberia now as we speak, they get Zocos there. Even in Grand Bassam, I'm going back to Liberia in May. I know Umar come to that question. So, what am I going to do back in Liberia? But I'm going back in May, and I plan to go to Bonny currently, go to Cape Mount, and go to Magibi again, and go to Pecan, Grand Bassa County. And there are Zocos all over the place. And we are going to these places to see them and have a conversation with them and understand what can we do as a society, what can we do as an organization to help fight against the drugs. But it will take real effort on the government. And the reason I emphasize the government, because government sets regulations. And government controls the borders. And like you correctly said, our borders have been infiltrated with people who want to destroy our children, our youth. And we must say no to them. We must chase them out of our community. And we must make any community safe for them, because we don't want them to infest our community with drugs like they're doing now. So we have to band together, all right? So it will take the family, it will take the community, and it will take the government working together to fight this pandemic.
But Mr. Quarter, what are some of the drugs that we're talking about here? um, because these are some of the items you cap under the a project proposal. For instance, if you were writing a proposal to obtain funding in among donors, the first thing they would say, well, what is he talking about? Here in the country, for instance, you can take one drug of choice, say opioid, and it will blow alarm. Lots of folks will say, "Oh my, yeah," but in this case, you're saying the drugs. So let us attempt at looking at some of the most common drugs these days. What are we talking about here?
We're talking about substance like I think they call TCC or something, And to be honest with you, that's a valid question, and I will try to do more digging in it. Maybe on the next show, I'll provide you with some names. But I'll be honest with you, some of the names they call, I don't even know them. I'll be very honest with you. And because, for instance, they call it something like TCC or something, I don't know what is that, because I don't know what the drugs are. But when you guys call the name to you, you even ask yourself, does this exist or stuff like that? You're talking about real hardcore drugs. But what I do know, I won't say I was fortunate or so, or I don't know, fortunate would be the right term to use, but when they asked me to enter the ghetto, and I saw them taking drugs, let me describe what I saw. I saw a shiny something, all right, and 3 to 4 guys in circle, 3 to 4, almost 4 to 5 circles are counted, and those 3 to 4 people all over the low fire high with the webs and substance like the how you call it, man, for paper in the fall.
All right. Let me provide an overview. When I serve, the Joint Security, the Minister of Defense at the G2 level, the intelligence level. There was a common drug of choice. It seems as though it's what you're trying to describe it. We used to call it Doogie. Doogie was actually it's methamphetamine. It's meth, but it's the crack. You understand? The crack meth, where you dissolve it in on an aluminum foil, you illuminate it with fire underneath, and then people sniff. Take turn to sniff, and then they get high. But that also had the tendency of destroying people in different ways. For instance, their nostril, their teeth, their denture, everything will because this is actual substance that once inhaled or once you consume it into the body, it start affecting your vital organs as well. And so that's one. It looks like a powdery substance, but kind of shiny. I agree with you. It's like a kick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's one. And
Absolutely.
Then what about things like marijuana?
Marijuana is it far less now. Boys don't talk marijuana anymore. Marijuana that those people want to talk about the prior user, the old user. Those are in the days people are using marijuana. People talk marijuana now. They're talking about some. Okay, you asked for the name of the drugs. Something just came to my mind that I learned from them. Something called the June. They say when that June is on you. Excuse me to say on your show. So when that June is on you, you don't know anything. You can do anything you want to do. You can even kill and what have you. I mean, that's how hard these folks can get sometimes. And so we're asking ourselves, so what's a June? They say, oh, Robbie, or CEO, because they call me CEO, that my nickname. CEO is my title for Destiny Airport Foundation as a CEO. They say, CEO, when you get that June on you, so hard. Even when a man tell you, say, oh, can't eat, I won't eat. When they say, go steal from your whoever, So that's how hard the kids can get. When I saw that stuff, when I saw the kids piled up around that stuff, and I shook my head, so wow, this is very serious. So marijuana is something. I think it's outdated, man. I want to think it's outdated. Yeah, substance. in a second.
Wow. So marijuana is.
You have the weight and the drugs that we're talking about.
Oh man. So what are from your own indication? Where are some of the sources of these drugs? Well, I mean,
what?
Where are some of the where?
What I heard, they said, of course, like you said, some of the kids don't have the ability to bring in drugs through the borders, but the people who bring in the drugs are the ones bringing it to them in the place. And most of the things they said, foreigners bringing the drugs, So that's why I said it will take the government, it will take the community, and it will take the family, because again, government controls the borders.
Right.
The kids don't go out to Guinea or go to Liberia or go to Sierra Leone or go to Guinea, Sierra Leone, or Ivory Coast to bring in the drugs. No, they only receive the drugs as the drugs are brought in. So, so that's why we're asking the government to get involved. And I'm not just saying get involved like just for the namesake, or just to get involved, or to say, okay, the government does something. I'm talking about actually doing something so that we can save lives. All right? The government has to get involved, and the government has to take the fight against drugs seriously. We're not seeing the government alone can do it. I submit, no one government can fight drugs. Even in our country here, in the U.S., you see how, talk about billions of dollars people put in the fight against drugs. So how much our country Liberia? So no, I'm not saying the government exclusively, has all the power right to fight drugs. No, but the government can solicit effort and aid us, the Destiny Helper Foundation, all the good organizations out there, meaning the community and then the family. So three of us will have to work together to fight this epidemic or pandemic, whatever you want to call it. But it's a serious concern. And every Liberian listening to me, and she understand this is a very serious. It's no joke. It's a very serious crisis, and they should take it very seriously. All right. So I'm not saying this is a doomsday scenario and what have you, but if we are serious about a country, see to it that we fight against drug abuse in our country, because it's very serious. And the Zocos are all over. And some of the things they do, they are hard, and they are the ones doing the petty crimes. Like my sister phone, that's the petty crime. The guy stole the phone. They are hijacking people and harassing people on the street, taking stuff from you. Unfortunately, if you're not so lucky, they can take more than that. Right? They're taking their cell phone. The guys can even harm you and take your phone from you.
Wow.
If anybody wants to take this one seriously, don't only listen to this interview, but there's a video I just circulated today from Nathan Bly. Watch that video. All right, watch the video and see. This is the man who lives in the area. This is the man who has a center that he's working with. Let me say, hats off to Nathan Bly too, because our organization were able to go there. And we met with him and we discussed, and we saw some of the guys that he's helped through his program. So Nathan Bly and others are doing wonderful work in our country. There are many organizations trying to work with Zocos. Just find your heart. Find ones that you think you trust. Find the ones that you think you can work with. There are so many of us out there. Destiny Helper Foundation, Nathan Bly's group, and so many groups. Now Senator David DeLong is also working with Zocos. Just find anyone you trust to work with. But find something to do, because we must save our country.
Okay.
And the issue of Zocos is a serious concern, and no one should overlook it. And one thing I would say, great, when we were growing up in Liberia, and I like to share this story, and I want to believe it could be the same story for you, but let me use my own personal story. Growing up in PHP, there were nights we used to sleep out to take cold air. We didn't have big iron light behind the door and stuff like that, but now all of the people are inside prison. Most of the homes, if not all, they have a big iron light behind the door. This iron steel door. When you and I were growing up in Liberia, we didn't have that stuff.
Of course not.
That's how dangerous it is. And people who listen to this stuff and who watch this video tonight and who have gone to Liberia recent time will tell you. Well, growing up, we used to sleep outside, we used to play late in the night, we stay out, we do our midnight chew and all have you know, and go together. Yes, no, seriously.
Yeah.
We weren't afraid. But today, you know, today the country has changed. These are some of the challenges we're talking about. Liberia were new together many years ago. It's different from what we have today. Alright? And the issue of Zoko is a very serious issue. No one should take it lightly. We all must work together. I want to emphasize it will take the government, the community, and the family working together to make sure that we help our brothers and sisters who are affected by this quote-unquote demon, as they call it. He actually says demonic. Taking drugs is demonic. Because when you are possessed, to get out, I think that was the reference of a demon comes in. To get in is easy. Just one zip or one joint can get you into it.
Wow.
But to get out, that's what the challenge is. You know, that's what the challenge is. So we have to fight this together.
Well, you know, Mr.
platforms that we are using to let people know that this is a real challenge we have in our country.
Yeah, I mean,
we have to have a country. If we want to have a good country, then we must find our heart to find a way to address the issue of Zokos. It's very serious.
All right. Well, you know, as we're about to wrap up here, let me see if I can attempt to bring some of that video that you shared with me weeks ago. But the only thing I would say is this: we have a country that is faced with so many challenges, and we can't attempt to solve all at once. It's a gradual approach. Now, if you were to go into solve this one day at a time, what would be that one immediate action you would like to take right away, so that at least you can say, I started off at this from this end, and I'm going to go walk my way through from here?
What we're doing right now is to raise the profile of the concern. Is to raise the awareness. Is to raise the light of what's happening. So I'm going back to Liberia in this May. This year May, May 2020. I'll be going back to Liberia. I just came from the country. In the last 2 years, I've been in and out because of the very reason, the concern, and the need to help my country. So I'm going back to May. And one of the things we want to do to answer your question, we'll be having a Zoko soccer tournament. How does that help? Immensely, it's going to help. Because what we do in our organization, we don't have the capacity now to have Zokos in how, because they ask for long-term service like housing, employment, treatment, and what have you. Because we don't have the kind of money now to build up capacity. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to raise the alarm. We're trying to raise the alert. So the Zoko soccer tournament will be having on May 14th. Is to raise the alarm that yes, this problem exists. This problem exists. That's how we in Destiny Helper Foundation, can do our part. By raising the alarm, by letting people know that these people exist, and also by spreading love.
Okay.
The visitation we did, it was all about spreading the love, and that's what they need as well. Physical treatment, but the thing they need most is what we're doing right now. That's what we have in our capacity to spread love. To listen to them, to understand that yes, somebody cares. So those are things we are doing.
So let's see, Mr. Quadra, just give me a second. I may not be able to picture the video right away, but let's see some of the conversation you have with these people. Hang on a second.
Sure. The government has approved the dollar international support to the process. John has to be careful, bro. He left there for his son and children. This is welcome.
And of course, Mr. Quarter, you would know that it's a chaotic situation because everyone is trying to advocate on their behalf to get something. For them, they see this as a temporary relief, something they can immediately get some funding out of to probably even continue with their act. But I would say, just from that scenery, I would try to sometimes show some of this because the video was tilted. I think when the gentleman was trying to capture it, they might have tilted the camera one-sided, and so I will have to go in and do some work with it just to erect it to where it will make sense to the viewing public. Then I will show it from time to time, but with your permission, of course, because it's your intellectual property.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Give my permission. You asked, what are we doing? That's some of the things we're doing.
Okay.
So be able to highlight their concern, so people like you, myself, and many others can raise the profile. So absolutely, 100%, go for it.
Okay.
Show it around the world. If I did it for the world to see.
Okay. That
we have a process in Liberia, and the folks are asking for our help. So if anybody willing to help, please, you can work with any group you want to work with, whether that's the Helper Foundation or the Reverend Metal Bly's group. Or yes, there are so many groups out there. And just want you to know that there are people yearning for help.
One of the things I will admonish you to do is to be able to bring some of these partners that you're working with on board, shows like ours, so that we'll be able to give light to some of, like we're doing now. You never know the miracle some of these kinds of programs can bring, because you have immediate references to cite when the time comes, because donors want to see what have you been doing about this crisis, and when they see them tangibly where they can put their hands on it, like for instance a show like mine, they tend to say, okay, I see exactly what you're trying to do. If we in a way of wrapping up, because this was intended to be a 1 hour broadcast, but we had loops between because of the drop signals and so on and so forth. It's about 3 minutes to an hour 30 minutes video. So if you were to wrap up, what would you have to tell us?
The first I would say, first and foremost, thank you for this opportunity. And anyone watching this will know that we are asking you to join us in the fight against drugs in Liberia. We also want you to know that it's a serious concern. And I won't believe, from my own assessment, if we don't do anything, it poses serious threat to national security, because the Zocos are all over and they are asking for help. And the videos I have, you will see they're asking for our help. Whatever means you can help with, whether be it personal use item. That's what we are collecting for on behalf of Destiny Helper Foundation. It can be deodorant, it can be bath soap, it can be things that our kids don't use, because we have children who have been born onto the Zoco family. So we looking for something that our kids don't use anymore. Just any personal use item and stuff like that. Just anything we can do together to make sure that we provide something for our people. Above all, I would say, we are not going to give up on Liberia. Liberia is very prosperous. We have an enormous opportunity in our country, and we just need to find in our heart what can we do for Liberia. We all claim that we love Liberia, you know, you know, to quote, our dating partner when you're dating a woman when we're growing up, one of the things they'll ask you, oh, you say you love me, show now, show me you love me and stuff like that. So the same thing with Liberia. If you say you love Liberia, the question is, what are you doing for Liberia? What are you doing to help Liberia? What are you doing to show your love for Liberia? And this is how I believe in my heart we can show our love for Liberia. But the way we treat the least among us, what we do for the least among us, that demonstrates our love for Liberia. So let us go and love Liberia like the way we should. And let's take care of our own. We shouldn't abandon our own. These are our family members. These are our children. These are our brothers and sisters, our fathers, our mothers, everybody in the mix. So let's do this together. I want to thank you again, Congress, Gray, for this opportunity because what you're doing is huge. You are also doing your part.
Thank you so much.
Platform to give space to us to be able to tell the world what we experience in Liberia. If you're not giving us this opportunity, the world will not be able to hear some of the things we're talking today.
Thank you so much.
This platform gave us the opportunity to let them know that we have a serious national crisis on our hand. The issue of Zouk is a serious issue. Let's work together to make this happen. They are Liberians, they have right to live, and they have right to Liberia. But only together, the government, the family, and the community, working together, we can solve the problem. May God bless our country, Liberia. Long live Liberia, a sweet country, will always be there for all of us, and we want to make that Liberia better. It's our determination to make that country better for all of us. So again, God bless you and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Kwade. Thanks for coming to the Colonel, and don't make it your last day. Of course, we have so many other questions to ask. We'd like to know from the social services, the health perspective, what are some of the statistics we're talking about, but that will sit for future date. And of course, we'll continue to jointly look at this problem with you so that at least you can be able to carry on successfully the mission you've started. Thanks for coming on the congregation, and don't make this your last time. Thank you.
Absolutely. I will be back in June. If I go to Liberia in May, I'll be back in June. And if I come back from Liberia, you can have another show, then I can give you up to date. And I will promise you on your next show, I'll bring some real names of the real drugs that people taking. Apart from the June, and it's, I think TCC they told me about, but I'll try to get the names of the real drugs taken. And I will ask real people in their own voice, to talk about it too. Well, thank you so much again, and I enjoy the show. I look forward to more.
Like I said, this show can you can access it on YouTube. It's also on Instagram. We are on most of the major social media platforms, Facebook and what have you. Just go in there and look for the congregation. And today's episode, of course, you can download it onto your handheld device and then be able to watch it high definition, crisp, clear. Thank you so much, Mr. Sion, and have a good